I don't think there's a day goes by where I don't get asked via email, via Facebook, via Twitter, lots of different places, but what tools do I use and recommend for building WordPress websites? So that's exactly what I'm going to address in this video. We're going to go through all the tools that I use on every build for WordPress. But before I even start this, I want to ask you a question. What are your tools of choice? What's your tech stack? Let me have comments below and let me know all the tools you use on every single site. I'd love to see what you guys are using. Let's kick things off with what I would consider to be probably the most important thing you're going to do once you've spun up and installed WordPress, and that is make sure that everything is secure. For this, I use Solid Security. Now, I've been using Solid Security since way back in the day, where it's iTheme Security and Better WordPress Security. It's been around for quite some time and had a couple of rebrands, but I've been using this for many, many years for my own and my clients' sites. Why? It's very easy to set up. It's quick. There's lots of options inside here. And if you want to go for the pro version, which incidentally I don't use, I use the free version, you can connect this up to one of the other tools that I'm going to recommend that I use on every single site that I develop. So what makes Solid Security so good? It's just incredibly simple to set up. You can go through a simple wizard and you can be up and running in a matter of minutes. If you want to fine tune and tweak things even further, you can do that with absolute ease. Want two-factor authentication, which you should have, you can do that inside here as well. All the core things you should need to secure WordPress inside WordPress itself, Solid Security is my go-to. Now, alongside Solid Security and some other things which I covered in that video I just mentioned, I use PatchStack. Now, PatchStack is a service more than a plugin, but there is a plugin for it. And what this does is this monitors for vulnerabilities in the core WordPress, WordPress plugins and themes, and it will apply a virtual patch if it finds anything on one of your sites until the actual patch itself is released by the developers. There's lots of other things to harden your site. Again, you can use this to do two-factor authentication and handle logs and things like that. But there's an awful lot to like about PatchStack. Now, it isn't free. There is a free version and you can use the basics, but if you want to get the most out of it, it is a service you're going to have to pay for. But the good thing is you can use the free community option, and then any sites you want to give the ability to have this V-patching I'm talking about and some of the extra security things, you can pay as little as $5 per site per month. So if you've got a site for a client and you're giving them a maintenance package, you could use this. If you've got a site for yourself, you want that extra bit of peace of mind, you can pay for just that site. There's lots of options there, but PatchStack is one that I use on every site to give me that extra little bit of peace of mind on top of the other security things that I've got in place. Now, next on the agenda is Advanced Custom Fields Pro. Now, you can get away with the free version, and most of what you need to do probably be handled by the free version without any problems. But I've got the lifetime deal for ACF Pro, so I'd be silly not to use it. Why do I use it? Well, it gives me the ability to not only create custom post types and taxonomies and meta fields and things, but I can also build options pages with this. And I use this on client sites and my own sites to give me the ability to have one centralized location for things like company name, telephone details, contact information, social media, all those kinds of things. And then I've got one place to update it, and inside my template structure, I can easily have all those changes rolled out in a matter of seconds. Plus the fact I like to break things up on the sites to give you things like dedicated custom post types, maybe for things like the services you offer or the customer offers or the client offers, the different team members. There's all manner of different reasons why ACF or a tool like ACF is so invaluable. Now, there are plenty of other options. If you want to go down the completely free route, you could look at pods, you've got MetaBox. But like I say, I've been using ACF Pro for many, many years, and the lifetime deal just means it's a bit of a no-brainer for me. Now, on top of that, I also like to be able to organize my content. So even if I'm using custom post types and custom meta fields and so on, I may have lots of information inside any of those custom post types alongside the media that I use. And this is where Happy Files comes in for me. Now, Happy Files is the same developer as behind Bricks Builder, and this has been going on for quite a while. Again, I bought the lifetime deal on this. It was something silly like $25, and I just love it. It just allows me to organize every aspect, templates, pages, posts, custom post types, media. All those things can be handled directly inside Happy Files with no impact upon the dashboard and no long-term effects other than allow me to organize things. No database is touched whatsoever. There's lots of other things you can do with Happy Files, but it's one of those things. Buy it. It's not that expensive. You've got it. You can put it on every site you build and start organizing every part of that site and your life using Happy Files. It's pretty cool and very, very cheap. And now, before we go any further, I have no affiliate links to these products. Happy Files, no affiliate. ACF Pro, no affiliate. So kind of get the picture. One or two may be affiliates in the description down below, but the majority of these are all tools that I pay for either annually or I've had a lifetime deal and I just use them. These are my tools of choice. Now, speaking of tools that I pay for and have paid for quite some time, SEO Press Pro is one I've been paying for the last 5 years, and I have no intention of changing that anytime soon. Now, the next tool that I'm talking about is WP Vivid Backup and Migration. I've been using this, and I've paid for this on a lifetime deal probably 5 years ago, and it's paid me back in dividends. This is the tool that I use, and again, the free version of this, which I've covered in many, many videos, is more than enough to handle things like migrations between different servers, to handle backups, to handle all those kinds of things, staging sites. All these things can be done. Yes, there are limitations on the free version, but for most users, it'll do what you need it to do and it'll do it for free. However, there is still, I believe, a lifetime deal on this, and I grabbed this, like I said, about 5 years ago. Cost me about $200. I think it gave me 50 or 100 sites on there, and I've got this installed on every single site of mine, every one of my client sites. So whenever I do a update to any of the core software, the plugins, themes, and so on, it will automatically do an incremental backup for me. There was a little bit of a hoo-ha with that a little while back, but this is mostly ironed out, but it's still an incredibly useful feature, even if it does have its little quirks. But the migration is incredibly simple. The backups are stupidly simple. You can push things over to a cloud server, which is exactly what I do. There's lots of reasons why you may want to use this particular plugin. But if you don't, there's still plenty of options out there that'll give you similar, if not the same functionality. This is just the one that I choose because I found it pretty reliable in my use cases. Now, when it comes to actually building the sites on top of WordPress, I've got two sets of tools that I actually use, but I'm only going to concentrate on one here because this is taking up the focus of my time, and chances are this is where I'm going to probably move over to using, let's just say 90% of the time. And this is Bricks Builder. Now, I've been using Bricks since it first came out right back probably 3 years ago, and the growth on this has been absolutely fantastic. Yes, there was the security issue a little while back, but there's no tool out there that doesn't have some type of security issue during its lifetime. What is most important is how that was handled. And in my opinion, and this is my opinion, you can disagree or agree, I believe the way that Thomas and team handled it was actually the right way to handle it. They were transparent, they were open, and they didn't try to hide anything about it. But take all that out of the equation, it's a solid builder with great updates. Version 2 isn't far away, and it's just an absolute powerhouse when it comes to building sites, especially when you want to use tools like advanced custom fields, dynamic data, and all those kinds of things. This just makes it easy without me having to rely upon third-party plugins to do what I would consider to be fundamental things. However, like I say, this is just part of my tech stack. You may be using different tools, and that's cool. Next up is my framework of choice. So when I'm building websites using Bricks, I want to optimize my time and not spend time doing repetitive, boring tasks. This is where a framework like Core Framework, which is my choice, comes in absolutely brilliantly. It just gives you the ability to very quickly be able to handle things like fluid typography, your spacing, your sizing, all those kinds of things, your color palettes, everything, all inside a very simple interface, which you can use the online free version and still get access to all of the functionality. So you can handle that, then download the CSS file, and you can use that on whatever tools you want. If you're a Gutenberg user, you can use the free plugin that allows you to integrate Core Framework with Gutenberg itself, which is pretty cool. Being a Bricks user, I've got to pay for the actual connection plugin there, but I don't care because once you've paid for it, which is 119 euros, I believe, you can use it on as many sites as you want. It's a one-time payment, job done. No problems at all. I like that business model. I use that. It just makes my life a lot easier. So now I can spin up a site. I can start it with Bricks Builder, and I can just be developing and designing things in a consistent fashion using Core Framework as the backbone for it. Check it out. It's pretty cool. Now, speaking about optimizing my time and my development, this is where I use Advanced Themer alongside Bricks. Now, this is a Bricks only add-on, so you can't use this with any other builder. But what this allows you to do is not only enhance the interface and tweak things and give you sort of lots of shortcuts and extra little functionalities that just speed up your workflow, it also brings with it some incredibly powerful and useful, what I would consider to be really big modules. Things like the ability to be able to do CSS grid visually. It makes it an absolute breeze. Sure, you can do it by hand, and you can do that inside Bricks itself. But once you've started using Advanced Themer, it's very, very difficult to go back and just use a vanilla copy of Bricks itself. No shade on Bricks. Bricks is fantastic. This just adds that little bit of icing on top that means that you can speed up everything you do. Use this alongside something like Core Framework and you have a powerhouse of a toolkit to get started. This is all part of my blueprint when it comes to working with sites. You can check that blueprint out here. It'll go through in more detail how I set these things up. So Advanced Thema is a no-brainer for me. Just like I say, the extra things it brings into it, the way you can customize the interface, you can enable and disable lots of functionality, and things that are hidden away inside Bricks itself are made so much more front and center and easier to work with when it comes to using Advanced Thema. Definitely one that I recommend. Now, generally, when I'm building websites, I'll start from scratch inside Bricks and I'll use the tools I've already talked about to speed up my development. But if I want to go even faster, then this is where Brixies, which is a template library for Bricks, comes in absolutely perfect. It's a great set of wireframes. It's just designed so well. New components have been added every single week at a rate of 10 per week. It's already up to about 300 different designs. Everything you should need to hit the ground running is included here. The best thing is, if, like me, you work with Core Framework, you can use this with Core Framework and it connects up and it'll take over the styling and all those kinds of things. It uses BEM naming, so there's proper naming conventions are being used. It's a very powerful, very clean and easy to use set of wireframes. This is one I would 100% recommend. I actually love it. And if you're an ACSS user, you can also use this alongside it as well. This is set up to work with both Core Framework and ACSS. So all the things you should need are in place right there. Now, the final thing on my list is BricksExtras. Now, again, I don't really tend to use a lot of extra plugins when it comes to working with Bricks, other than the ones I've already talked about, especially when it comes to adding extra elements in. I think Bricks has pretty much everything you should need. However, BricksExtras was one that caught my attention back at the end of last year, and I kind of ummed and ahed about picking the lifetime deal up with it, and I did actually pay for it, and I don't regret it for a second. There's been several different instances on a couple of projects I've been working on recently that the Bricks way of working was okay, but there's certain things that I wanted, little nuances that would have taken a bit more time to actually put into place. This had it already built into it. Plus, there's a lot of other features being brought in. If you want additional conditions when it works with dynamic data, there's a bunch inside here. If you want extra elements, they're really well designed, well coded, well thought out. Again, you have them inside here. In fact, there's several in here that, in my opinion, replace what you have inside Bricks itself and take them to a more powerful place. And if you work and you find accessibility important, these are very, very well handled when it comes to working with accessibility. So I would 100% recommend, if you are looking to expand the tools you have inside Bricks, BricksExtras would be the one that I would recommend wholeheartedly. So those are my tools of choice, but what are yours? Let me know in the comment section down below. And all the links to everything I've covered are in the description. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.